Hi, it's Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter, and welcome to Career Coach Office Hours. Tuesdays at noon Eastern, I spend about a half hour answering questions from job hunters that I receive live or I receive on LinkedIn. If you've got a question for me and you're a little shy about asking it today, you can always message me through LinkedIn at linkedin.com/IN/the big game hunter. I'd be happy to answer it with the next episode of Career Coach Office Hours. One experiment for today is I'm not on Facebook, but I switched over to X at my um, Jeff Altman Coach login. So if you've got a question and you're on X, please message me. I'd be very happy to answer it. Same thing on LinkedIn, same thing on Facebook, not Facebook, same thing on YouTube, which is a big channel for me. And I do hope to be able to help more people find work. Now, before I start, I just want to mention that if you're interested in my helping you, go to jobsearch.community. Notice jobsearch.community. Now, I've got three tiers of service there. My least expensive one is free. And that's on the front page where I've got some stuff that's available to you free. But most of my content is behind a paywall. It's all listed there. So if you go to jobsearch.community and become an insider, you get access to all my video courses, books, and guides. Video courses, I charge the same price for one elsewhere as I do for all of them at the site. Plus, you can ask me questions about your job search. I'll answer them usually within 24 hours. Become an Insider Plus member, and you get all of that. Plus, you get me on 2 Zoom calls a month where I answer your questions. Become an Insider Premium member, and you get access to all my stuff that I've mentioned previously. Plus, we do either individual or group coaching. Again, that's jobsearch.community. Notice right above me, over my shoulder there. Now, I received a number of questions from people, and I'm just curious about how I'm showing up on LinkedIn, and I'm not sure how I show up on X. So I'm just going to take a quick look on X to see how I appear here. Bear with me for just one moment. I don't know where it shows up. I'll figure it out another time. But I'll just do a quick peek over on LinkedIn to see how I show up. There I am, not too far behind. LinkedIn is a little bit behind real time. So if you've got a question for me, put it into chat so I can answer it today. Okay. Now, a number of questions I received, I'm going to put them each individually into the chat on StreamYard, and that will be shared elsewhere. So the first question is, will a Master of Science from a low tier university be taken seriously by employers? Not all of them, but you already knew not all employers have your degree from the low tier university, but firms that you want to work for that would only take the high tier people, you're wasting your time there unless you have an introduction from someone who is able to advocate for you. If you're just applying for jobs, there are certain firms that will value that degree. They will appreciate the fact that you've got a master's of science from some university because it will fit what their needs are. Now, beyond that, I don't know anything more about you. So I don't have a sense of what your grades were like, how well you speak, your passion, how well you interview, a whole bunch more. But I'll just simply say, some firms will value that degree. Some firms won't. Don't overthink this. You made a decision years ago that is affecting your decisions today. And as a result, you can't change them as of yet. But what you can do is be passionate, excited, enthusiastic, and people will pick up on that. They'll wanna talk with you. After that, if you don't know what they need, they're not gonna hire you quite obviously. But your job is to get a date, to get an interview. Then this way you can answer yourself, demonstrate what you know, and have them make a good choice. Next question is, how are you supposed to make a good impression in a job interview when you don't know if you'll be good at the job? So, great question. And the answer is you can make a good impression because very simply, you can advocate for yourself and your ability to do the job. Now, if you're not sure what the job is, you can ask about it pretty early on. Hey, thanks so much for taking time. I really appreciate it. I recall the position description, but I want to get your take on it. Could you tell me about the job as you see it, what I can do to that lets them tell you about the job, and then from there, what you're able to do is connect the dots for them between your background and what they're looking for, which is really what you need to do in an interview. Plus, also, remember that when firms hire, competence is only one thing that they're looking for. They like self-confidence because it inspires confidence that you're a solution to what they're looking for. Self-confidence, chemistry, maybe a little bit of charisma. These charismatic people always do better than those who aren't charismatic. That you care, that they can connect with you because they want to trust you. Your job is to foster trust. No trust, very little likelihood of being hired. One of the ways they learn to trust you is not just simply what you say, but how you say it. And that helps them build an emotional reaction to you so that they feel as though you're someone who can help them. So, how are you supposed to create a good impression in a job interview when you don't know if you're good at the job? Find out about the job first. Make them fall in love with you as a person, because unless they fall in love, you're not getting the job offer to join them. So, again, if you've got a question for me, you can put it into chat so I can answer it. Next question I have so far is, what's the best method for finding a recruiter or headhunter when you feel it's time to move on from your current job? You know, recruiters and headhunters don't work for you. They work for an employer who pays them. So, to find a recruiter who can help you, you have to do some work. Do they have a job that's one way. Another way, and a better way, is do you know people who know them, who will introduce you because they found a job for someone like you? Now, remember, many recruiters specialize in certain fields, and you may have a background that doesn't relate to what we normally fill jobs for. Remember, a placement agency, and they don't place people in jobs because you aren't paying them anything. What they are is someone who fills jobs for an organization. As a result, you're asking them to work for free. They don't do that. They're trying to find people for their institutional customers. So what you need to do is talk to people who know them, who can introduce you. Notice what ads they're applying for. Look at their LinkedIn profiles to get a sense of the backgrounds of people that they find jobs for. It takes some work, but so what? Are you going to spam your resume? Is that what you thought I was going to tell you? Spam your resume to every recruiter on the planet. What you can do is also go to LinkedIn and post a message that says, I have a background doing such and such. Can you give me a recommendation of a recruiter who works in this area? Go to groups, post it in your feed, ask for talent acquisition people to recommend you. And again, TAs have groups on LinkedIn, but the feed may be a good place for you to get an answer to your question about finding recruiters who might be able to help you. Again, as a reminder, put your questions about job search in the chat so I can answer them live. Next question is, what does it mean when a hiring manager says she wants to meet me to go over a few details from my virtual interview? Okay, we don't have a lot to go on. So the hiring manager did a virtual interview with you. Now they want to just confirm that you're not weird a second time. They may want to talk with you about all the responsibilities and their expectations of you during the interview. There's lots of possibilities here, but the big thing is you're getting another interview. We're going to go into depth into your background experience. We're going to talk with you about their role, what your responsibilities would be, what their expectations for you would be as well. As a result, your job is to always connect with them first. As I mentioned earlier, remember, confidence is only one thing they look for. Self-confidence, and a little bit of charisma. That you care, that they can connect with you because they wanna trust you. So what does it mean? It means that you got past the first round. They wanna talk with you some more and get acquainted with you, so that this way they can figure out whether to go out any further with you. So you're not getting an offer. They're gonna talk with you some more, and again, everything they're doing is part of their evaluation of you as to whether or not they wanna hire you. Okay? So what are some examples of job search, uh, fit assessment questions? And I put a note to myself because this was sent to me in advance. What they're looking for are behavioral interview questions. So, what are job fit assessment questions? Tell me about a time when you fill in the blank. And they're going to ask you to talk with them about things that you've done in your past. The way I classically describe it is it's story time. And you're gonna tell them about a story where you handled the situation that's probably relevant in their workplace. And thus, what they wanna do in, I'd say, a minute 15 to a minute 30, have you talk about your experience as relates to what their question is. So, remember, you know, fit in an organization is about what you've done in the past and how your behavior communicates with them that you'd be someone that they'd be interested in speaking or having on board. So my encouragement to you is arrive with, you've got a job description, and I want you to arrive with 3 stories that would connect the dots between your background and what it is they say they're looking for. Then ask my single best question to ask at the start of any interview. And from there, as they go into some of these, your job is to use stories to illustrate what you've done that relates to what it is that you're. As someone pointed out, a resume, and I have to say, an interview is not about dumping out the history of your life. It's about highlights that matter to them so that you're able to illustrate that you can do the work that matters to them. Got that? They wanna know that you have a background where you can do the work that matters to them, and they don't wanna know everything about you. It's a highlight reel. That's it in a nutshell. We're talking about highlights of your background. So, that's the goal there, okay? Here's another one. The recruiter said, "I'll let you know if you're selected for an interview." Is this a negative sign? No, they probably just haven't looked at your resume yet. It may be the "don't call us, we'll call you" answer, which is a negative sign, obviously, but your impatience to follow up on the resume submitted may have taken more, and as a result, they're basically sending you away. So, we'll let you know if you're selected, basically translates into, "We're not gonna let you know if you're not selected." So, be patient. If you haven't heard from them, what you should have followed up and saying here is, "By when might I expect to hear from you if you are interested?" So this way, if it's a few days later, I know I can forget about this situation. That's what you should have followed up by saying, but you didn't. So is it a negative? Nah, you probably annoyed them, and as a result, they're sending you off with the, "Don't call us, we'll call you," and that is about, "We'll select you for the interview and let you." We've got some more that got sent. Oh, well, this was a ridiculous question, in my opinion. Please, if you've got a question for me, put it into chat so I can answer it. I'd rather handle your questions than some of the ones that were sent to me in advance, like this one. What are the key skills and qualities employers look for in candidates during job interviews in 2024? Key skills, it's impossible to answer that. Seriously, how would I possibly know the key skills for every profession and be able to answer this in less than 24 hours of being on? That's impossible. Qualities? Do I say it again? This would be the third time. Competence, self-confidence, character, chemistry, maybe a little charisma. Charismatic people always do better than non-charismatics. That you care, that they connect with you because they want to trust you. It's about giving them a feeling, making them believe that you're the solution to the problem they. If you don't do that, you're like everyone else that they're talking. As a result, you don't wanna be in that position. You wanna give them the feeling that you can help them, that you can solve their problem, and thus the qualities that they're looking for, I speak about all the time. It's about that feeling that you give people that you can help them. Here's a fun one. Okay, one second. How do you handle an interview with the same company that had rejected you previously? So I'm going to assume that you submitted your resume for a job and interviewed and were turned down. And now let's work with the assumption that maybe they're contacting you. That's one possibility. Maybe you applied for a different job and they want to talk with you. I don't know. You're not clear about the circumstances. So I'm going to cover those two examples. You got turned down previously. Now they've contacted you. And I think you walk in like you're the most wonderful person on the planet, and you talk with them about the role that they want to have filled and how you back out and solve the problem. That's it on that count. How do you handle it? If they ask you, what happened when you interviewed with us 3 months ago? I got the idea because I was turned down that I didn't fit what was needed, or maybe frankly, you guys weren't clear about it other than you weren't interested in hiring me. Do you have some notes there that might be useful to me? No. Whatever. I thought I had done well on the interview. Apparently, I didn't do well enough. The position went on hold. Maybe someone better arrived. I don't know. Today, I want to focus on you and how I can help you. That's one approach. Now, if you apply to a second job, you're in their database. So they know applied there previously and that you interviewed them with them previously. So how do you handle it at the interview? Only if they raise the subject. Again, only if they raise the subject. Excuse me, can you dance around with it like you didn't answering the other one? Now, if you know you were turned down for a particular reason, acknowledge it. They were looking for someone with fill in the blank. What I made it clear what my capabilities were during the screening call. I was passed on to a hiring manager who determined it wasn't strong enough for what they needed. And they're not defensive about it because it's not just what you say that matters, but how you say it. And your job is to make them feel confident in choosing you. If you are defensive, if you're anxious in how you speak, that's not going to inspire confidence in them that you can help. So recognize that's going to be an important attribute for them. And it's, again, not just what you say that matters, but how you tell your story that matters as well. Let's see now. What does no one tell you about job searching? Well, the thing that a lot of people are discovering about job searching is that the yeah, I spend a lot of time on LinkedIn. I'm LinkedIn member 7653. So I was amongst the first 10,000 people on LinkedIn. And here we are decades later. And we're in a time and have been in a time where college educated professionals are finding it difficult, have been for most of the last 8. So what no one tells you about job search to me is pretty simple. The skills needed to find a job are different from those needed to do a job. That's the most important thing I can tell you. You can't just walk in, recite a bunch of facts, and expect to be hired. There's skills to learn in a job search that you may not have learned up until this point. And thus, jobsearch.community will help you. Again, I've got a list of video courses, books, and guides on the homepage that will help you choose between different alternatives. I've got some free stuff there as well on the homepage, but there's a lot more that's in the site, and it will help you navigate your search. There's a lot more I'm going to be adding in over the next few months, but for now, it's material that will give you a good start. Plus, I'll also tell you the people who are most opinionated among your friends know as little as you do about job hunting. They may have found a job, they may have hired people in the past, but that may not apply. You need to learn these skills and not learn them through trial and error. That takes a lot longer than joining a site like jobsearch.community or going to YouTube and fumbling around there because there are millions of videos related to job search on YouTube. I've got a channel there at jobsearch.tv. The material is free there, but there's just a lot of it. More than 8,000 videos I have there at jobsearchtv.com. That's my channel. And just too much stuff to go through. I've simplified it at jobsearch.community. Again, jobsearch.community. So that's two things that people don't tell you about job hunting that I think is important to know. You're an amateur. You think you know more than you do. And unfortunately, if you keep going about doing it the same way you have up until this point, it's going to be a rough. Again, put your questions about job search into chat so I can answer them live. I've got a little more for today. I've got this question, maybe one or two more. Let's see. Is a government job worth? Did I tell you some of these questions are dumb? Government is one of the sectors in the US economy that is hiring. It's been one of the most active employers amongst all the different categories that the US Bureau of Labor Statistics tracks. Others, government adjacent, like social services. They're doing a lot of hiring as well. In the last 2 months, healthcare has also been a big sector. Leisure and hospitality, translated, you can get a waiter at your local restaurant or a bartender to make you a drink. There's someone at the front desk at a hotel. Those jobs are also abundant. Is it worth it for you? There's usually job stability with not just talking about US federal government, state and local governments as well. How often are people laid off from local government jobs, federal government jobs? Not too often. If stability is important to you, it can be worth it to you. If having your mind active, it's going to depend on the individual job and your commitment to the job, how much you feel like you give to that agency. That will dictate as to whether or not it's worth it for you. I have to say for you, because this answer is really geared toward helping you decide what's right for you. And and you can talk to people who you know or you can find on LinkedIn who work at that government agency doing similar work and make a choice for yourself having spoken with. I'm gonna take one more question today, and unless someone else puts something into chat, I'll do a wrap. Okay. Uh, let's see now. Where is it? There it is. Should you still limit your resume to 1 to 2 pages if you have a lot of projects that you would like the hiring manager to see? Why do you think the hiring manager should see them? Seriously, why do you think the hiring manager should see them? Is it something you're particularly proud of? If so, that's great, but that doesn't mean that they should see them. They have requirements for a position. Work that you've previously done relates to what they're looking for is what you should be posting on them. So if you have projects that you would like them to see that relates to what you're looking for, yes, that's okay. But limit it to 2 to 2 and a quarter pages, nothing more than that, because they're not gonna get to page 3 very likely. So don't just simply vomit a bunch of things on a page and expect that everyone is going to bask in your magnificence. Doesn't mean you don't raise it in an interview, particularly if it relates to what you're looking for. But you should be able to keep your resume to 2 pages total, and if it's 2 and a quarter, that's okay. Beyond that, unless you're a PhD candidate going for a PhD-related role, keep it to that length. It will make a difference, but when they start seeing page 4, page 5, they wanna put a bullet in there. So, keep it simple, stupid. That's the best word. Keep it simple, stupid, uh, and just keep it to 1 to okay? So, I'm gonna wrap today and say, I'm Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter. I hope you enjoyed today. I'll be back next week again on Tuesday at noon Eastern. Follow me on LinkedIn at linkedin.com/IN/the Big Game Hunter. I accept connection requests from people all over the world, except if you look like a scammer or spammer, except if you're a third party recruiter. I'll accept some of you, but please don't sell to me. I'm just not interested in becoming someone working for you. I do my own stuff. That's what I do as a coach. Again, join me at jobsearch.community. Sorry I'm mentioning it again, but it really has valuable stuff to help you. That's jobsearch.community, where I have video courses, books, and guides, the ability to answer me questions. At different price point, you get on Zoom calls with me. We do individual and group coaching together. I want to help you, and jobsearch.community is a great place for me to do it. I hope you have a terrific day, and most importantly, Be great. Take care.